Your girlfriend turned into a hideous monster. While of course you supported her and promised to help her on her quest to turn back, on the inside you're struggling to find a way to confess that you're really into her new form. Mom always said that the best way to learn about yourself was to head out into the world and listen to what it tells you. She'd said that sometimes. I wouldn't want to hear what the world had to say, but you had to listen anyway. World's a mirror, it's worth looking into it. For most of my life, I'd expounded that story to anyone who would listen. Why wouldn't I? The world had shown me I was braver than I thought, that I was more sturdy than I thought, that I was smarter than I thought. Throughout my life, looking into the mirror of life had been shattering doubt and breaking anxiety, 1,000 positive experiences, and now one persistent negative one. I'd be the first to admit I had a lucky lot in life. Most people didn't get to go out adventuring with their partner, let alone spend time in the same party day after day. Those that did, well, they tended to have messy ends, but we'd passed all the tests so far. Dividing loot, saving one another's lives, moral dilemmas. We'd done it all side by side and with bedrolls tied together. It was a great life, which was why it was so devastating that I should have been throwing a wrench in it. 3 weeks ago, my partner and I had been raiding Adamanton's tomb. It shouldn't have been an issue for us, but I didn't check one of the items we found carefully enough, and Abby'd gotten herself a curse that twisted her into a drider. Half spider, half woman. Mostly tears. I understood at the start. It was a big change for her. She'd needed to buy so many shoes, and within moments of it happening, she made me make a deadly promise. That I would do anything in my power to help her get her normal body back. Getting her body back wouldn't be the hard part. It would be tedious at most. We knew the best curse breakers in the land. We just needed to book a week off to do it. When it came time to book travel, that was when I realized the world was holding up a horrid mirror to myself. The fact that I was kinda into it, horrifying in its own right, but something you might be able to laugh about in the future. The fact that I'd found reasons not to book the trip several weeks in a row, that was the horrid mirror. At least, maybe, if I'd been able to tell her why. She might have been able to understand where I was coming from, that my hesitation was from a new experience. But the fact that I hadn't told her? Maybe I wasn't as brave as a thought. But once the 3rd week passed, I started to think that she might not be as brave as she thought either. Or maybe she just saw conditions on our love that weren't there. I kept seeing her, in the quiet moments, enjoying her new form. She would find it useful and then act like it was shameful. She would modify her old clothes with a smile and only mention that it was a pain once I walked into the room. Maybe I was projecting. Maybe I was telling myself that she secretly loved her form because I wanted her to see the lovely parts of it that I did. Maybe I was ignoring the bad moments because I didn't want to see them. That was what had led me in front of the mirror in our dressing room, taking deep breaths and making positive self-talk. It was honestly a sad state for a person who'd faced a lich without flinching. Mom told me to look into the world as a mirror, and I didn't like what I was seeing, so it was time for me to change it. Time for me to be the brave person I thought I was. I would agree to go on the trip to a curse breaker, and I would be clear as to why I hadn't been doing my best to get there. Hell of high water. Even both. I stepped out of the back and into the bedroom where Abby was waiting on the bed, all 8 of her legs tucked under her thorax with her newly white hair pulled back into a messy bun. She usually looked up to catch my eyes when I walked into a room, but it seemed like she was too far in her own head, so I made the first move. "Hey, hun," I greeted as I slipped onto the bed. She still didn't look up, so I reached out and put a hand on the chitin of one of her front legs. I'd been shocked at how warm it was since the first time I touched it. "Abby? Babe?" It still took a second. "Yeah?" I was looking at the schedule and moved some things around. "So, we're all good to head out this week if it works for you, but—" I trailed off. Being brave didn't mean I wasn't scared. "Oh, I think I'm busy with stuff and... just..." She trailed off. I couldn't read the tone in her voice because I was too far in my own head. "Look, I need to talk to you anyway," I said. She looked up, and I could almost see a fear in her eyes. I wasn't sure where it was from, but we'd made too many promises to one another over the years for me to back down now. "I haven't been a good partner through this. I've been..." "You've been great." She cut me off. "No. Hey, let me talk because I haven't been great. I told you that I would do anything to help you break this curse, but I've..." A deep breath, like raising a shield before combat. "I've been delaying because I like you like this. It's new. I'm into it and..." I cut myself off so she didn't have to as I met her eyes. Abject confusion. Uh-oh. Do you like this more? She asked after a moment. I love you, I said. I'm sorry I hesitated at all. It doesn't matter what... You didn't answer my question, Bobby. I don't know if I do or if it's just new. Okay? I almost spat it out. I hope that she understood the tone came from managing to say it as opposed to any anger. I stared down at the sheets on the bed and then pointedly away from her. Then I felt her hand against my cheek. You should have told me, she said as she turned my attention back to her. I know. Would have been easier than holding this all in. I know. Same for me. Pardon. I don't know, really. I don't know whether I want to be like this forever, but right now it's new, and I've been getting excited about it, and I didn't know how to tell you that I was liking it. You know, in case you found having 8 legs weird. I chuckled. So what's the plan then? You're the one in charge here. Delay it for now until we figure out whether it's novelty. Then we can talk about forms. I'd love you in anybody, you know that. And I'll love you, no matter how much of a freak you are. Rude. You just admitted that you're into this. She motioned to herself. I nodded, then winced at the idea of her telling the first person. Then again, maybe that was the world's way of telling me I was as brave as I thought.